Hello people, I'm the Real Comic Book Gamer, and today's video is me and Owen from Owen Likes Comics talking about the DCEU, just sort of a general discussion of different parts since there's a lot of stuff going on there. Now, this was recorded like the day the Black Adam movie was announced, so this was before Ben Affleck dropped out of directing Batman, so that's why we don't address it in any of this discussion at all. But yeah, Part 2 will be on his channel. I'll have a link in the description to go to his channel if you want. You should definitely go check out. He's a really cool guy. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Here it is. Bat v Superman. I think the theatrical cut, I mean not the theatrical cut, the director's cut is a decent movie. Not a decent comic book movie still. To me, it's still a bad comic book movie. A decent movie, though. Suicide Squad is awful and boring and just bad. And I really love Man of Steel. Like, to me, I finally got to see the Superman that I love in the comics on screen for the most part. He wasn't entirely there, but it was more than what we had got prior, especially like Superman Returns and stuff. And I enjoyed it for the most part. There were still some things. It's not a perfect movie, but I really do love Man of Steel.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think I'm a huge Superman fan, and I'm sure you're a big Superman fan as well. And looking back at Man of Steel now, there is quite a lot to appreciate from just a Superman perspective. Where with Batman v Superman, my problem with that is at no point did I go, "That's Superman." Look at him helping people.
I was talking about this before, where he de-evolved from Man of Steel to BVS, because in Man of Steel he's very confident in his actions and what he's doing, and then Batman v Superman he's like scared at every corner. He's got no clue if he should do this, and he's got no like security about anything. Like in the extended cut, he calls and asks his mom for help about everything. He asks Lois for help about everything. He goes and hallucinates about his dad on the mountain. It makes no sense because Batman was tripping balls throughout the entire movie, having flashbacks and whatever.
Yeah, but we can fully establish that Ben Affleck's Batman in BVS is crazy.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, that makes sense.
If you take the fact that he is absolutely insane, that movie makes so much more sense.
Yeah, because we saw him, like, popping pills and drinking and stuff. So, like, him tripping balls made sense. But Superman to hallucinate on top of this mountain did not make any sense. It came out of left field to me. But something that I feel like Man of Steel did really well that BVS did not was mixing elements from the comics. Like, it was very much Superman Earth 1 Volume 1. It was that entire story. Then they had like some Superman Secret Origin in there. The Krypton stuff was very much out of John Byrne's run. And so like I feel like they mixed elements really well. For Batman Superman's like, we're going to do Dark Knight Returns, we're going to do Death of Superman, we're going to do all this stuff, and like none of it panned out.
In Batman v Superman, there's Dark Knight Returns, there's Death of Superman, there's a bit of Injustice for some reason.
Yeah. There's also some Brian Azzarello's Lex Luthor in there.
Yeah. There's a bit of Birthright with the younger Lex Luthor type. There's Crisis on Infinite Earths. There's, with the Flash coming back and speaking to Bruce, which is Flashpoint as well.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on?
None of these are small stories either. These are all
each one of
huge storylines.
It's like an Infinity War level event.
Yeah. They're huge.
Which is a nice segue to talking about why are they rushing everything?
Because Marvel.
Yeah, this is something I really don't understand. It's like, it feels like DC. It's not even the fact that they're trying to compete with Marvel, because any studio making films with people in tights fighting other people in tights is going to compete with Marvel. But it's like, there is no such thing as comic book movie fatigue as long as comic book movies continue to be different. Like what we're getting with like Civil War and Winter Soldier, and even Man of Steel to an extent was something slightly different each time. If it's going to be the same formulaic movie, people will get sick of that. But if you keep reinventing the genre, then that's fine. So if the genre is never going to dry out, then why do we need to do everything now?
God, that's just what WB's trying to do. I still think they're just trying to catch up with Marvel. That's their whole goal right now. That's why they're trying to rush to Justice League, and they're just doing all this crap. And it's just like, we had one movie with Superman, and then they killed him off. One movie, and we're supposed to feel for that character. It's when he died, I wasn't sad at all, and that's my favorite superhero. I wasn't sad at all when Superman died. That's pathetic.
The way they killed him, actually, just in the film and the whole funeral sequence was great. That last sequence, where it's his funeral and it's Batman and Wonder Woman and everyone talking, that is so well shot. And that should be such a gut-wrenching scene. But I don't care. Because I don't feel a connection to this character.
Because we had no reason to. Like, in that movie, what of Superman do you actually care about? There's nothing. Like, what do we even get? We get him. What,
He
I don't.
throws an African dictator through a wall and kills him.
But later he states he didn't. Even though you can slow mo the clip and see that he never turns his back to take the impact of the wall. I actually saw in a YouTube comment people trying to justify that, saying no, those walls were made of clay, so that guy survived. It's like no, no, Superman took that guy with
No,
such force and at such speed through like 5 walls. It doesn't matter what it's made out of. That guy is dead.
but it just feels like, and especially with all the recent announcements, DC, it's like they want what they should be doing is planning the next. I hate to compare it to Marvel, but plan a phase. Say, right, this is moving forward, what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to stick to. And for a while, it seemed like we were getting that. When they made the announcement of the Flash movie and the Aquaman movie, but everything seems to have been thrown away, and we're back at the drawing board.
They just, I don't know. They're very reactionary about everything. Because like we saw
Yeah.
with Batman v Superman with the reaction to that, and they had the trailer company cut Suicide Squad, and so I don't know what their goal is right now.
It's like they're trying to be reactionary, but they're not quite getting the point.
Yeah,
Like people's problems with Batman v Superman wasn't that it wasn't fun, because a movie with Batman shouldn't be fun. It should be fun, but it shouldn't be.
fun in a different way. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be like light and funny.
tonally, I don't think BVS. I don't think the tone was the problem.
Yeah, I
It
don't
was
either.
the editing and some of the directing. Not so much even the directing, just some of the writing. The writing felt rushed, and the editing was really bad. But it's like the only part they're grasping is we need to make it more fun. It's like,
Yeah, I agree. It seems like they're very much of, oh, people didn't like it because it wasn't funny. That's why people like Marvel movies, because there's jokes. That's the only reason. We did everything else right. We had
yeah.
Chris Terrio come in and fix the script. It's like,
But
no,
Chris Terrio didn't get long enough to write the script.
no, he didn't. Which they don't
You know,
seem to be keen on giving their filmmakers time to do really anything.
and if one lesson should come out of this, it's decide who's making the movie, and then go and let them make the movie.
If
You
only
know,
they'd do that.
it's not quite got to Fantastic Four levels of bad, but Suicide Squad was dangerously close to getting there.
I just like for Suicide Squad. To me, it was so like plain. There was just like nothing good about that movie to me. Like Batman v Superman, I got out of theater, I hated it, but I was still like, okay, I need to see that one more time to
Yeah.
evaluate it more and like gather my sentences and everything and see it with a clear head instead of all this hype of it's Batman v Superman. After I came out of Suicide Squad, I was like, I never want to see that movie again ever, and
I
I did
just
not go back to see it.
I came out that film and I felt nothing.
Yeah, like the
It's
fight
like
scenes where like they go up and they're fighting all these zombies. It's like so generic and plain and
yeah,
just nothing
it's
special.
it's like for the first minute, it's like okay, this is cool, and then that's the rest of the movie. And it's a shame because I actually think some of the acting in that film isn't half bad. I think Will Smith does a fairly good job as Deadshot. I
As Will
like
Smith, you mean?
as Will Smith playing Deadshot, but I like Will Smith when he's not in After Earth, so I can. It's like we knew it was going to be Will Smith playing Will Smith,
Yeah, that's the
but
whole reason they cast him as Deadshot.
but it worked.
Yeah, he's
And
great at
it's
playing Will Smith. He's had years to
yeah,
do it.
he is of anyone you could cast to play as Will Smith. Will Smith is the guy. It's like even Margot Robbie. I thought, excluding all the weird her and Joker stuff, just assessing her performance, I thought she did a really cool job as
But
Harley
yeah,
Quinn.
she did a good
Even
job.
they even got Jai Courtney to act.
He was my favorite part of the movie. Was Jai Courtney?
I really like him. I think my favorite part was probably Diablo because he was the only character with any sort of really fleshed out motivation.
Well, like I feel like they didn't really get like they tried to give us a character in Diablo, but to me it kind of like fell on its face in the end because like you're in my family, it's like you've known these people for like 2 seconds. Like
Yeah,
I like the backstory of them. That was
yeah,
interesting.
it was really it was kind of refreshing to get a character like that.
And the only bit of character we got in this entire movie. And so that part was definitely refreshing. And so, but then you have like the crappy CGI fight between him and oh god,
Yeah,
who thought
we
that looked
fight.
good?
It was awful.
It was so bad. And
It's
that's the
like
thing. We don't come to, at least I didn't come to Suicide Squad to see big CGI fights.
No.
Like who went to Suicide Squad for that? And yet we get it for some reason. And it doesn't make any sense.
Here's what, like, just talking about Suicide Squad. The main problem with that movie is they are on the wrong mission.
Oh yes, agreed.
They are on a mission that the Suicide Squad would have no chance in actually doing. It's like that is a like that kind of level of threat is something that the Justice League should be handling. Suicide Squad should have been going after the Joker.
Agreed. And I talked about this before in a video,
Yeah.
saying that this is something that in a universe where Wonder Woman, the Flash, and Batman all exist, we all know they're out there. Superman's like coming back from the dead or whatever, but those three heroes exist. There's a giant light shooting up the sky. What are they doing? Suicide Squad should be going after some like politician that the U.S. government wants assassinated, or the Joker, or something.
Or just mobsters or like a smaller level threat. Not
Something
this world
dirty.
ending. It's like you've got this world ending threat and you've got a guy with a boomerang and a crazy woman dressed as a clown.
Yeah, we needed a contained story, which was, to me, what was
Yeah.
refreshing about Deadpool. Part of it was the fact that that was a contained personal story. Like, it wasn't a world-level event like we get with, like, X-Men Apocalypse and then Doomsday at the end of Batman v Superman. With Suicide Squad, it should have been more of a contained event, but it wasn't for some reason, which makes no
Yeah,
sense.
I think that between Deadpool, Civil War, and Logan, none of those three films have a big world-ending villain. It's all very personal-based, smaller character studies, if you get me.
Yeah, which we don't get near enough of now, and it's refreshing when we do, which is
But
part of why I believe everyone loved Deadpool so much.
yeah, I mean, I think it's that you can't keep upping the ante every time
Oh,
because
want to
you run out of
bet?
things to do. You bet we'll have Steppenwolf in the next one. Everyone's been crying out for
What
Steppenwolf.
was that design for Steppenwolf, though? What is that design?
Has Steppenwolf ever looked good?
Yeah, in New 52, he looked good in the, what's it called?
Earth 2?
No, what's it called with, dang it, what's the name of it? It's the Dark Side War.
Yeah.
That Steppenwolf looks cool.
Hmm.
I like that Steppenwolf.
It's
I mean,
like Steppenwolf's fine.
yeah,
Why don't we just do Darkseid?
because they gotta save Dark Side for the next one.
Oh,
is-
so we are planning ahead now.
Apparently, but it's stupid to me that like you bring in Steppenwolf, who's supposed to take on the entire Justice League, and then you bring on Darkseid, who's leagues ahead of Steppenwolf, and they're supposed to
Yeah.
take him on. It's like it doesn't make sense. It's stupid because the level of threat is way different there.
Yeah, it just feels very thrown together.
Yep.
It feels like DC is just trying to catch that flavor of the month. The way that Deadpool was a huge success, it's like they're looking for their Deadpool.
Which
It's like,
to me, if they want to challenge Marvel, they have to go with characters that Marvel doesn't have, or type of characters that like Marvel can't really do. Which to me, one of those characters is Deathstroke, and he's one of my favorite comic book characters, and we have not gotten anything besides where he's going to be in the Batman movie. But we got a Gotham City Sirens movie announced, a Black Adam movie, and a Deadshot movie, but not a Deathstroke movie. Deathstroke to me would be the most interesting because he's very much in this middle of the line sort of like anti-hero type guy.
Yeah.
And I thought the stories that Marv Wolfman told with him in the 90s were great up until the end of that Deathstroke run, because then it got really weird. But prior to that, it was amazing. I love seeing those stories. But instead, it's like, here's Gotham City Sirens and Black Adam and Deadshot. I don't get it because
who's asking for these movies?
I don't know who is. Like, Black Adam, it's obvious because it's The Rock and he makes money. So that's why they're going with him. I don't get everything else. And again,
What is Black Adam going to do in a Black Adam movie other than fight Shazam?
I don't know because
Like, that is what Black Adam does.
isn't it supposed to be like part 2 though of like the Shazam movie? I read something about to where like Shazam is number 1 and then the second movie is like Black Adam. It's weird because when they first announced The Rock as Black Adam and they announced the Shazam movie, everyone knew it was going to turn into a Black Adam movie. Because
Yeah.
why would you cast The Rock and just him? You don't even have the actor for Shazam or anything, or a director or anything.
Or a
attached.
writer or like a release date or anything. You just have The Rock as Black Adam.
It's like, get hyped. It's The Rock. Like,
It's like they should have just cast The Rock as Lex Luthor.
no.
Yeah, but
I
you
mean,
say
it couldn't
no.
have been any worse.
You say
than
no,
Jesse
but at
Eisenberg.
least he would have been bald in the movie.
That's another thing that DC can beat Marvel on is their villains, because Marvel has awful villains for the most part. Like,
It's like Marvel's best villains, they don't own the rights to.
yeah,
They
and
don't
like
have Galactus, they don't have Doom, they don't have Magneto.
they don't really like their villains in the Netflix series. Well, some of them are pretty good. Like, I
Yeah,
really love Kingpin. Kingpin is
yeah,
great, but then on the big screen, their villains are just bad to me. We've
they're
had
just there.
very few. Yeah, they're there to
We're,
cause a problem,
it's like DC have some of the most amazing villains in fiction.
and they treat them like
Specifically,
trash on the
you've
big
got
screen.
Lex Luthor and you've got the Joker. And in a space of a year, they've managed to waste the pair of them.
Especially because Jared Leto, like, he gave so much into that. Like, he wanted to be a great Joker.
Yeah.
And I can't really judge his Joker because we didn't get enough of it. I can't say if he's a good or bad Joker. I love that one deleted scene, but there's not really anything I could say about his Joker because we didn't get enough of it. And the way they used his Joker was stupid and just bad. And then Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, I think, is awful. I see some people absolutely love him. That's fine. Everyone has their own opinion, but I think he's garbage. Like that, the end was snot coming out of his mouth when he's going, I mean, out of his nose, and he's going ding, 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 ding. It's like who looked at that and was like, that screams Lex Luthor. And then I see the defense that, oh, it's the birthright Lex Luthor. Someone I remember
No,
like
it's not.
tweeted at Mark Wade saying that, and Wade was like, no, that is not my Lex Luthor. Like, he replied back to the person
Let's
saying, nope, that is not my Lex Luthor. That's
let's
not
get
a
that
Lex Luthor
trending
ever.
hashtag not my Lex Luthor.
Hashtag not.
But
Oh,
it's
that'd
like
be great.
with Leto, all the tools are there for him to be a great Joker.
Yep.
Leto is a fantastic actor. Like that dude is an incredible character actor.
Yeah, and that was the whole thing that was keeping everyone going when they first
Yeah.
revealed how he looked. Everyone was like, he looks pretty stupid, but
And
I'm going
then
to hold back because Jared Leto's a great actor.
and then when we got all the news about how he's gone crazy on set, he's gone so deep into the character. It's like we could actually be. I'm not cool on the design, but it could work out to be something really special here. And Suicide Squad was a mess when even the actor playing the Joker has done nothing but trash the movie. It's like you said, you can't really judge his take on the Joker because there is no in that story there is no need for the Joker.
Yeah.
You could take every Joker scene out of Suicide Squad, and it wouldn't really change the movie.
He was there purely for the marketing. That's why he was in every
He
single
was
trailer.
in there because they knew they couldn't sell a Suicide Squad movie without a big name character. So like, we'll throw Joker in. What they should have done is either make Joker the main antagonist in the film, or just make a Harley Joker movie.
Which everyone would have been down for.
Because the best scenes in Suicide Squad were the ones between Harley and Joker.
Yeah, like, we could have gotten some great stuff, but sadly not. And we got that, like, that weird cliche. Everyone thought, like, that line was so smart. I personally hate it, where it's like, no, to die for me, that's too easy. Would you live for me? I thought that
hate
was
that
such a
line.
retarded line.
It just doesn't like they mischaracterized the Joker in a way. I don't know if that was the mandate that they had to like change the relationship, or if it was Leto and A are not quite grasping who the Joker is. But it's like the Joker, in the traditional senses, he's not the kind of person that would have an affinity for Harley Quinn. If he can find Harley Quinn to be useful, then he'll keep her around. But if she's not useful to him, then he has no need for her.
Like we saw with how Paul Dini wrote her all the time. Since,
Yeah.
he created her. Like in Arkham Asylum, when at the end
Yeah.
he literally just like revokes her invitation to the party and just like, yeah, she just leaves her there locked up in the asylum. He doesn't care. I thought like the way Paul Dini always wrote her was great, but she's always more of a tool to Joker. But people hated that. And so they went with this, and we can't see Joker abusing Harley, even though that's a big part of the character. And it's
I think not having him do it humanizes the Joker, and I think once you start to humanize the Joker becomes a much less interesting character.
yeah, and with the Killing Joke, the big difference there is because some people might bring up, well, they humanized the Killing Joke. No, they humanized who he was, not the Joker, the character himself.
They made Killing Joke
assuming if
makes-
that's even real, because the Joker tells 1,000 different origins, and
Like,
so like that's
it's-
humanizing the character prior to him actually being the Joker.
There's a great line in The Killing Joke where, and they do a similar kind of line in The Dark Knight, but in The Killing Joke he says, if I'm to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice,
Yeah,
which sums up the Joker perfectly. It's like, we don't need to know the Joker's origin,
which
because
is
that's not important.
what's got me scared a bit about what's going on in the comics right now, since there's three
Maybe.
Jokers. I
maybe,
don't
but they've.
I don't really want to know about that. Like, I
I
don't get why
don't
they split him into
really.
three characters. But
Oh,
hopefully Jeff Johns knows what he's doing.
I trust Jeff Johns.
Yeah, as far as the comics go, I do.
Like DC, for the most part, with Rebirth, has been doing such a good job with the comics.
Oh yeah, they've nailed a lot of stuff. I love the
And
current Superman series.
me too. But I think one thing that's really important is, we've got all the news about Jeff Johns being brought in a bigger role in the DC films now. What Johns did with Rebirth, changing it from the New 52, is what really needs to happen now. I found a lot of parallels between how they've characterized Henry Cavill so far and what they did to the New 52 Superman, where they made him this isolated loner type character.
Superman Truth, one of the worst storylines ever.
Where you basically make Superman into, "Oh, I'm alone, no one understands me, I'm going to brood," which, that's Batman.
Yeah, and to me, like, he wasn't that character in Man of Steel, which again, like I said before, like they
Hmm.
de-evolved the character of Superman from Man of Steel to PBS. It makes no sense because in Man of Steel, he does smile. He is a character that is very much relatable in Man of Steel, and he has friends. But in Batman Superman, he's like, nope, Lois is the only reason for anything. He doesn't care about the human race. He's like, this was my father's dream. I never had any interest in
Yeah,
any of this.
the worst line in that is when he's talking to Lois before the fight with Batman, and Lois says something about it being his world, and he just turns to her and goes, "My world's dead." It's like, what?
That's not Superman at all.
Have you learned anything from these movies?
Like the end of American Alien, where he says, "I'm from Kansas." I love that part where he's
Hmm.
talking to Lobo. He's like, "No, I'm not from Krypton. I'm from Kansas." It's like that. That's exactly Superman. Batman's even said before, as Superman's the most human of us all, and I love
Yeah.
that fact about him. But they didn't see that at all in Batman Superman. Then they got they just it's just so bad. Batman Superman. Just talk about this movie.
But if we could boil it down to the three biggest problems with the DCEU so far, so everything from Man of Steel to Suicide Squad, what would you say are the three biggest issues that they're facing at the moment?
Obviously rushing stuff, trying to do too much in too little time. Like I said with Batman Superman, how they tried to combine all those different storylines and elements, and it did not work. That's like their biggest problem to me. Just I feel like not fully understanding what the fans want. Like the fact that you have these characters that are established in the comics and people
Hmm.
love them. Why not just take them and translate to them to screen? Why change them so much? Why put Punisher in a
Yeah.
bat costume? I don't get it. Like that's not the character we want to see. We've had time and time again a different interpretation of Batman on the big screen. We had Dark Knight Batman, which wasn't quite comic book Batman, but was a really cool take on Batman. We had Tim
Yeah.
Burton's Batman, which again not comic book Batman, but a really cool take.
Hmm.
This is the time to do comic book Batman. What they do, they make him Punisher. I didn't understand the whole Bat brand thing because I know the extended edition that meant a death sentence in prison, but why? Why?
Yeah.
Like why? It's like wouldn't that be like, oh man, that guy's a badass. He survived Batman. Instead, it's like,
That's a
no,
good
let's kill
point,
that
actually.
guy.
Would that not be street cred?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Especially
saying.
Batman's murdering everyone.
Yeah, like you survived this dude that's killing
And
everyone. That guy's a badass, but now it's like we should kill that guy. But anyways, the third thing I would say that's like wrong with this is their villains. They need to capitalize on that because like I said before, that's one of Marvel's weaknesses. Their villains are
yeah.
just kind of there to do bad stuff. There's no really character to them, like we just saw in Marvel's most recent outing, Doctor Strange. The villains are just kind of there. They had Mads Mikkelsen, a great actor, but they didn't capitalize on it at all. DC needs to. I loved Zod. I thought he was a great comic villain in Man of Steel. And then past
Hmm.
that, we didn't really get anything. Because I love the character of Zod. We got good backstory on him. We saw the fact that he was bred to be this
Yeah,
soldier.
Zod was great in Man of Steel.
Yeah, and that speech he gives right before the final fight scene, I love. It's great. It gives me chills every time. Michael Shannon's delivery on it was great when he's talking about how, I was this for my people. I have no more people. That part is amazing.
Yeah.
And so from there, I was like, yes, we're going to get more great villains. And then we got Lex Luthor, who his plan doesn't entirely make so much sense. He's like, I'm gonna, you better go over there and kill Batman, otherwise I'm gonna kill your mother. And then he has no one like monitor the fight at all. So Superman literally could have flown that way and then flown directly to where his mother is and saved her, because he has no one watching the fight at all, as
No,
we see later. There's a cartoon character, and yet
exactly.
in this, yeah, like you're saying, in this dark world, and I didn't get his motivation either. It was like, okay, God didn't stop my father from beating me, therefore Superman's evil, and it's like, What motivation is that? Just give him the
You
motivation we see in
literally,
the comics with like John Byrne or Jeff Johns or even Max Landis' Lex
yeah.
Luthor, which we got very little of in American Alien, but I loved his Lex Luthor.
But I feel like
And
the motivation for Lex Luthor was set out from the opening shot of Batman v Superman. Lex Luthor is a self-made billionaire in Metropolis. He sees himself as basically the king of Metropolis. This alien's fallen from the sky and destroyed half of the city. He has every reason not to like him.
yeah, which they should have done something like that, like in the comics, how he is, a self-made man and he is
Yeah,
the king of Metropolis, and then this guy comes in there and is like day one is suddenly the new king when he did nothing to earn it. Where Lex Luthor
exactly.
started from the bottom and worked his way all the way up, and this new guy comes in and does nothing to earn it. But instead, we get, well, my father was mean to me and God didn't save me, so Superman's evil. It's like that's not good motivation at all. So yeah, that's it for this part. Part 2 is going to be on Owen's channel. As you can see, this part was talking about the past of DC and what we didn't like about it. And the next part, part 2, is more about the future of the DCEU and what they can do to fix things and what we would like to see. So yeah, again, part 2 is going to be on Owen's channel, which I'll have a link in the description to. Definitely go check it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.